With Aikido, there are traps you can fall into. One of the traps is being perhaps too compliant as an uki, of just more or less throwing yourself and not being given the ukemi. The other is that you can sort of spoil other people's technique by just setting. It's not that they couldn't actually move you, because they can strike you, they can do things to you, they can put a foot in the back of your knee, whatever. So it's a fine balance between showing that a technique isn't quite right and just pointlessly spoiling technique. So one way this can happen, for instance, is if he's really relaxed with that hand. A very common mistake is that you go here and the point is your shoulder raises, and at that point he's now leaning on me, so I can't come back. So the fine detail of this has to be that if he's relaxed, he's not sort of giving me a proper attack. There's not really an attack there, but it does make me have to make it work. So he's relaxing that arm even more in that grip. So now I've got to make it work without any significant strength. And in order to do that, rather than sort of going up here and raising the shoulder, I need to think in terms of going across his posture, like that. So on the move, these considerations don't apply in quite the same way, but when you're trying to get the technique right, so I'm very relaxed, and if he does it wrong, you see, I'm leaning forward, and the only way he can do it is strength. So now he does it correctly. Okay, so that's good form, but it's not necessarily quick enough in actual practice. So he's coming in to take, as in a real attack, and there's a bit of a liberty there. I mean, that may have been good form, or it may have been slightly different, but the point is, what I in effect did was I absorb it like that. I mean, if he's just standing there softly, I can't absorb it like that. But if he's giving me it by pushing, then it's different. Another way of handling it is he can be very solid. And so then I can do Taina Hanko, and you need to be solid and keep contact. So this time and this is again another way of doing it. This time I'm so far behind him that it doesn't matter. See, there, my mechanical advantage is so considerable. So you do that, I'll be as strong as I possibly can. So what it comes down to really is a question of knowing how you're training. So if you're training practically, say with a menski punch, bit of a slap there. Okay, now he's going to come in and he's just going to set, and I'm going to do roughly the same thing. So he's just going to come in and set. And now, of course, it doesn't work, and I look a bit of a dick. So again, you know, but you know, this is ridiculous. You know, for a practical technique, it really does not profit you to do that, because they're just going to find an almost instant way of inflicting pain on you somehow. So when you're attacking, you really attack. And I have to adapt my technique as well. I mean, part of it is that you don't necessarily want to hurt the other person. So, you know, if I were to go in full bore, I would just end up hurting them, and that's not the idea of Aikido, so I feel it and adapt. Now the same is also true of normal Iruminagi. Well, okay, so he can be a spoiler, say on this, a counter. You know, whatever there's ways he can sort of spoil it while he's static. Okay? So what I do if that happens is I get right in. So here, because it's static, I just get right in, like that. Now in practice, where he's giving me something, he's giving me a little push, I can draw him in a way that I can't do if he's solid. I can't draw him in, I have to step to him. And you can make that adjustment very quickly, and once again nobody's going to attack like that. So if it's a punch, there's a really practical, unpleasant form of Iruminagi for you. Or I can do this. So that's pretty practical. Yeah, you can show both systems. Okay, now I'm going to set and be awkward. So what do I get? I mean, okay, so set and be awkward. Bang! What do I get? Of course it's practical. You know. So you've got to know how you're training. So another point with the Iruminagi is that basically he's coming in with a punch and I'm just deflecting it like that. So it's as easy as that. Other hand. So it's very easy then for me to go here and here. So he can deflect my punch just as easy, just slap it aside and also forward, you'll notice. So what's being achieved by that is he punches. If I just snap it aside, I don't get as much as if I snap it forward. So I'm actually going, as I'm moving my feet slowly, I'm also going there, I'm also brushing the arm pretty much, just pushing it that way. And then, whatever. Now, so that can translate into this. Or even into ukengaeshi. You use combination. Or you can combine koregeshi and iriminagi with it. And does that work? Most of the time. Oops. So what I'm trying to show there is a bit about the mindset of Aikido and how it works. When I attack, the attack has to be committed. Doesn't mean it has to be maniac. For instance, we can slow it down. If you're dealing with a beginner, for instance, the attack might be low. But the point is, I'm going to do it to his face, Menuchi. But the thing is, it has to, even if it's slow, it has to be realistic. So this is not realistic. He can't work with it because it's stopped there. This is slow, but it's realistic because it's gone through him. So if he were a beginner, I give him the opportunity to train. I go around with it and I'm reasonably helpful. But since he's not a beginner, I attack full speed with conviction. And then he can give a proper response. But he doesn't hurt me because he's been trained not to. But also I've been trained to give wisely. To give before it breaks, basically. I mean, in the street this might happen like this, say, koregeshi. And then I decide to be awkward. Well, stupid actually. And I just end up with a broken wrist or something. But the minute I feel that potential for a broken wrist coming on, I take ukemi. So I hope that sort of explains some of what you see and also helps you with your practice. Thank you.